Welcome to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast by yours truly, Colleen Wood. Here is where we celebrate success in real estate and share the wisdom and struggles so that others can be successful too. If you're a new listener, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders, and I'm known for helping realtors earn a lot more money in commissions without selling their soul to the industry and while maintaining balance with what's most important in life. I've been waiting to talk to this outstanding lady on our podcast for a while now. So I'm so excited to be talking to Christina Ward, CEO and lead agent with Christina and Company out of Boise, Idaho. Christina, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I love your mission. I'm so inspired by you.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I love what we get to do, and I love that we get to collaborate together. It's just a phenomenal group of people. Well, let's just dive right in. You have always been a go-getter from the very beginning. It's been really fun researching you. You were a student athlete at Boise State University and now have a tremendous real estate business. Take us back to the beginning. How did you get into real estate and what drew you to the business?
I love going back to the beginning because I learned from myself as a baby. I call myself a baby realtor when I was 22 and graduated college and decided to sell real estate. So I love going back for my own learning and for other people's learning. You know, it was 2005 and I babysat for a realtor family. And so that's how I got in. And I was their transaction coordinator. They now say that was like the worst hire of their life because I'm not detail oriented. But I did learn a lot just to be beside two top producing agents with great ethics. They were both athletes too. And so the way that Jim and Jennifer coached me was incredible. I got a few sales my first few years, and then the Great Recession happened, and then that was worse. So there's many lessons and gifts from that. The first part of my career was a lot of first-time homebuyers, and I taught first-time homebuyer classes. I don't know if you remember those there was like government credits for first-time homebuyers. So I really was clear to the world that if you're buying your first home, I'm the expert, the authority in that space. And so even some of those recession years, I had a lot of sales just from being very clear about my niche.
That's awesome. So how did you make your first sale?
My first sale was my own listing, which I always recommend just if you're going to mess up on yourself. I wish I didn't sell that house. It was in like the downtown part of every house I've sold. I wish I haven't sold. And I've actually started keeping all houses since you got to learn through failure, right? I bought a house when I was 19. My parents decided that since I got a full ride scholarship to play volleyball at Boise State, I had money that I was saving my whole life to go to college. Like that was just part of our family culture, was put 50%. You make, $50 from a family member for your birthday, you mow a lawn and you make $10. Half of it goes to the bank. And I taught swimming lessons, and I was like kind of I was an entrepreneur growing up even. I would mow lawns. I started kids club. I taught swimming lessons in my backyard. So I made a lot of money. So I went to college with $25,000 in my bank account, and my mom decided I was to buy a house. And I'm like, no, that's dumb. And then I bought it. I needed their credit though. So we bought together a $120,000 home in the downtown area of Boise, Idaho. Average price there is now $800,000. So it was a good time. It was 2001. And so I decided to sell that house because I wanted to buy a duplex and I wanted to buy a car with 4 doors. Because I thought, well, I'm a realtor now. Now we don't drive people around, but then you drove people around, and I needed a car with 4 doors. So I bought a Saturn View and I bought a duplex, and that was my first sale.
Oh my gosh.
My second sale was my brother. Referred someone who I thought he'd be the last person to refer someone, but my brother really was proud of me, what I was doing, and he referred his friend.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's sometimes that first nudge is like, you almost have to feel like you have to bait somebody to be like, will you be my first? Will you be my very first? I think sometimes some realtors don't tell people that it's their first until it's at the very end to be like, you were my first client.
I just told the second client, I was like, did you know I was brand new to real estate? She's like, yeah, I knew.
Oh, how
she's
nice.
Like, you always did the right thing. You always said, I don't know the answer to that. And this is what she's telling me 18 years later, because I just saw her the other day, and I thanked her for her business and her support over the years. She literally went to an open house and said, Christina Ward's my realtor 18 years later. Like, that's such an honor. Yeah. And so I thanked her. Like I said, you made a big impact in my life. Like, you trusted me. I was so brand new. Did you know I was brand new? And she's like, yeah, I could tell, but she just said it. You always did the right thing. And
wow,
we're still together.
Well, I think, just doing the right thing in any of these types. I mean, as long as you do the right thing. And it's like, you can say, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out. You can almost get your way through anything if you just have really good morals and good ethics and you work really hard.
Yeah.
You can just get the ball rolling.
And follow through. So like integrity to me is say what you're going to do it, and then tell them you did it. And that's just been something. And I think that's maybe, from my parents, from athletics, from like in a team sport, you cannot let people down. And so you do what you say you're going to do, or you like renegotiate deadlines. One of my favorite things to do. So I didn't get to that today because, you're waiting on someone else in real estate, right? Always waiting on someone else. So they didn't get back to me. I'm going to follow up again and then follow up again tomorrow morning. This is top priority, but I renegotiate the deadline for the next day. So if somebody reaches out to me and says, what happened? Where are we at? I'm like, we failed. I mean, no one's in trouble because we're human beings, but what system can we put into place to get ahead of that question before they ask the question?
Absolutely. Communication is huge. So how do you distinguish yourself in your market? Boise's a very strong market. You guys have had a very similar activity to where we've had in Bozeman area. We're very similar markets. So how are you distinguishing yourself between everybody else?
Yeah, there's 8,000 agents here in our little, Boise, Idaho. So it's very competitive, and there's some really solid realtors, like really great people. So in the beginning, it was a first-time home buyer niche. And then as I grew up, and I kind of grew up with my clients, we've done luxury, we've done investment property. We really helped people through like all different kinds of sales, or at least to be the resource, like come to us and we'll get you to the right person. But really the two kind of distinguishing factors is we create the miracle. So we sell a home and buy a home all at the same time, whether it's moving out or going cross town. That's a really hard negotiation to do a miracle sale and have a simultaneous closing. And I feel like my team and I have really mastered the miracle. And then the second thing is we give back to our community. People know we're good at real estate. Obviously, we sell a ton, but there's two other people really good at real estate too they have in mind. So what's the difference, right? And they all say like, you're all the same. It's not true, but that's what they think. The customer thinks that. And so we give back to our community. It's just been a decision that we've received so much. I mean, I've become a multimillionaire from selling real estate. Like, how dare I not give it a really big way to my community in the world? So we donate our 100th commission to local nonprofits. My clients and my team decides on the local nonprofits. It doesn't matter if it's a $3 million sale or a $400,000 sale. The total commission goes to local nonprofits. It's voted on. It goes viral. Everyone freaks out about it. So exciting. It's about to happen again this year. We also make over a home, family's home that's in need. And so, we message our database and we ask like, who needs a helping hand this year? And like, who could just use a pick me up? And it's not a remodel project. It's just what we do to get houses ready for sale. It's like the lipstick in the house. So we move them out, we put them up in a hotel. We do like painting, landscaping, cleaning, sometimes organizing, just whatever their needs are for their home. And then they get to go back in 24 hours to a house that's freshened up. My contractors are happy to donate because I send them so much business every year. And so it's like literally like just getting a listing ready for sale in one day. That's what we do. But we don't sell the house. They just stay and love the house. And that's been a really fun project.
That's incredible. I've never heard of that before.
I would love to teach the home makeover project to agents all over the country. And on the same day, we're all making over homes. There's a couple agents in the country that have copied our model. And that's fun. Like when my vision and my team's vision can become exponential impact like that. Like this gal just did one in Sacramento. And I was so inspired. And she heard about ours and then she did it. She did it better than us. And then I was like, okay, what'd you do? And like, let's learn from each other. I think that's really cool. That's my new kind of being in my 40s is my vision and goal is to make exponential impact on people, not just do it one client at a time, one home makeover project at a time, to really make a difference in the world.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is so inspiring. I know that other people are going to be reaching out to you and asking questions about that because I've never heard of that. So
I have a manual, so I'm happy to share the manual with anyone.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. So a huge part of your success has been building your team. What does your team look like now?
So we do the high volume per agent model where my agents are rich. And then they're supported by about a 1-to-1 ratio of admin. And so I'm in Gary Keller's mastermind, and he says you can either go really big, like more like a brokerage model team, where you just bring in the agents and see who sticks and who's successful.
Yeah.
Or you can go really small and have admin to agent ratio 1-to-1. So some people go, you have 4 assistants. And I'm like, well, they're not assistants. They are incredible. They're my success team.
Right.
So they're amazing, amazing people backed by amazing systems that we're constantly changing. And then we have 4 salespeople. So 4 admin, 4 salespeople. I'm the listing agent, and our salespeople do mostly buyers. But as the agents that stay with me for a long time, like I have one 8-year relationship, one 4-year relationship, Tracy and Alana, they sell more than 30 homes a year each. Tracy does about 60, and they have earned, I don't want to say earned. It's distracting to list a house and buy a house and do all the admin. So I don't want them to be distracted. I want them to get really good at one thing, like a shoulder surgeon. You could hire a general surgeon to do your shoulder surgery. They'll probably do it fine, but why not hire the specialist that does it every day, or like probably does 3 a day? You know, like Alana and Tracy are specialists. So if they take listings or do a whole bunch of other things, that would distract them from becoming specialists. So I want my team. That's why I wait for the 30 units first that they get to, then they can start taking listings. But they also notice right now that sometimes a listing's distracting still, even at their high volume of business. But they also have clients that come back to them that are huge fans, and they're like, who's Christina? And I don't want to get in the way. Like their relationship. We always like, what's best for the client? What's best for my team? And I trust them to make the right decision. On the admin side, we have a director of operations, a transaction manager. And so she does listing coordination and transaction coordination. She's supported by a transaction coordinator in the Philippines, Clarice. And then the director of operations is supported by executive assistant in the Philippines, Eliza. And they are awesome. Those girls are smarter than all of us. We were just doing a training this morning. Clarice was telling us what to do. She's awesome.
How did you find your folks from the Philippines?
I hired them through Cyberbacker. My friend in Salt Lake City owns Cyberbacker and then has an amazing team out there, huge team of Cyberbackers, virtual assistants. I know it's cheaper to go direct to a VA. I don't have time to find that or figure that out. So Craig is like Keller, I'm Keller Williams. So it's Kellerized. He's Kellerized his virtual assistants. And when they don't work out, because we've hired a few through Cyberbackers that didn't work out.
Sure.
We give feedback, we give it a shot, and then we just get a new Cyberbacker like within a day. So that's been great. And Eliza's been with me for 2 years and Clarice 1 year.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
They are amazing.
So at what point did you know that you needed help?
It was like the coming out of the recession. So I moved to Keller Williams. I learned how to lead generate. So I went really, really hungry, like thought I was going to quit, wrote a resume, thought I was going to go get a real job, moved to Keller Williams, learned how to lead generate. So I, dialed for 4 hours a day. And after doing that, I created a lot of business, like so much I didn't know how to handle it all. So it was like 25 or 30 units where I'm like, I'm starting to forget. And I didn't have systems at the time. I had like paper checklists and stuff. I was starting to forget which deal was which. I think there was like 10 deals going at once.
Yeah.
And then I hired my first assistant, and then we did 50 transactions together with my first assistant.
That's amazing. So what parts of the transaction do you still hold on to as exclusively yours?
I do 5 jobs. I lead generate, lead follow-up, negotiate, go on appointments, and practice. And my team is supposed to do the rest, but I'm kind of in my email right now. So we're talking about that. Like they're having me write a things I hate to do list. And one is email, phone calls. Like after 18 years of doing this, I don't want to talk about a key transfer ever again. I'm so sick of that. Like, and I'm not good at it. I'll forget to tell somebody about something. One thing happens in real estate, like 8 people need to know. It's like,
right.
And I'm just not good at that. I like to win. I like to help, connect, build relationships. So my main jobs are lead generate in the morning and go on appointments in the afternoon and get those appointments signed. And then we have a pretty good listing process where the listing manager takes charge of everything. And then they pull me in when there's a problem or a negotiation. And that's all I'm supposed to do.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm trying not to tell you about what it is I do because I want to make this completely about you, but you and I have so many things in common that it's so much fun to hear this, because I hear so many agents that just do everything on their own and they're like, I'm the only one that can do it. I can't possibly hand this off to anyone else. And so this is really inspiring. So
you know what happens with that though, is I am good at doing a lot of things, obviously done it, for a long time.
Yeah.
But if I do it for them or instead of them, and especially if I have them, people to help me, then I'm kind of hurting their feelings. I'm taking away their job, especially problems. I do like to problem solve, and they will tell me when I need to. But if I take it away from them before I give them a chance, that's making them feel small or less than, and they're my partners and they deserve to own their part of their business and to grow. And the best way to do that is to do the hard stuff. And so how dare I take that from people?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And it makes them start to feel like they're not doing it right. You must not feel like they're doing it right. And it also makes them feel like they don't have job security because you're just going to step in there and do it for them. So
that's true.
That's really, really important to stay in your lane. So if you were to advise other agents on team building, when is the right time to bring in someone into their team, and who should that person be?
Well, I think a lot of people have this dream of having a team without lead generating first. And Gary teaches us leads, listings, then leverage. So you can't even do the listings and the leverage till you have the leads. And so it's all about being committed to lead generation and probably having 3 sources of lead generation. Mine's database, open houses, and teaching classes. And so it's leads first, and then it's having so many that you can't keep up. Like truly, like look at the systems first, look at yourself first, and then how can we pile it on as much as possible? And then now we can't do it anymore because it's too much. And then we hire our first assistant. And some people go to sales first. Sales is expensive and we're good at sales. If we created that much business, we are good at sales, and we should not be leveraging sales until there's better systems and better administrative involved. And the one thing I did wrong was, like Gary Keller says, to hire an assistant, and then that assistant hires an assistant. And I hired an assistant, and then I hired a buyer's agent. If I did it all over again, I'd hire an assistant hires an assistant, and I'd hire a showing agent, because I would still get to negotiate, I would still show that showing agent really how you negotiate at a super high level. And that takes a long time to learn that. It's not like, hey, shadow me for a month and then you can negotiate. Like good negotiators, that's taken years and years of practice to get good at that.
Yes. That's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So what do you think your biggest challenge are in building a team?
Well, I kind of didn't sign up for this team thing. I'm just a good salesperson. So I'm like, oh, here I am trying to be a leader. And I've had so many leadership lessons. I've made so many mistakes. I mean, it's like insane the amount of learning that's happened in the team has been being built for 10 years. And even this year, tons of mistakes this year. But what's crazy is like they all lead to, we have to hurt so bad to make you change, like really, really, really painful. And then it's all led to where I'm supposed to be. And I thought it was like one hard thing leads to a good thing. It's not like that. It's like 10 hard lessons lead to where you're supposed to be. I mean, I even think about how I landed at Boise State. I got some rejections in there, like from other colleges that I thought were going to make offers to me, and they didn't for different reasons. And then I chose to not go to some different schools for different reasons. And all of a sudden I'm like, I guess I'll go to Boise State. And then it ended up being like the best thing ever. But it was just this crazy, it was not what I planned at all.
I've often said to my team, the amazing thing about building a team is that like we don't become leaders of teams because we're good leaders, or because we're good people managers, or good at HR, or good at hiring people or training people. We become leaders because we're really good at our job. Like really good, like I'm really good at lending. You're really good at selling real estate, and it's like we get elevated to these positions and you just stumble and fall and like hire the wrong person and have them stab you in the back. And then you go through all the emotions of that, because as salespeople, we're very emotional people. Very passionate, very driven, emotional people. So I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to that. And it is hard to build a team. It really is.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. Well, being a mother, like that just feels like such a responsibility to raise my kids, but kind of similar, like my team are my kids. It's like that responsibility. I have less jobs now for sure, but my brain never stops. Like I don't have sleepless nights over transactions. I used to lose sleep over a deal, and I'm past that. Like I still care about my clients, but I just am tougher now. But I lose sleep over my people, my team. Yeah. That's what keeps me up at night.
I mean, I think something that I have really struggled with is separating how I feel about my son, separating that from how I feel about my team, because I have, like, just like you, I've always taken my team underneath my wing. And I mean, I love them. I love them, but it also like exposes a piece of my heart that probably shouldn't be exposed in business. And that has circled around and bit me over the years, in that, you know, when somebody has done something, like, it cuts me to the core.
Yeah.
And I have never been able to separate that. I just love them. I do.
I know. Yeah, I know. I've never heard it said like that before, but I feel all of your feelings. And it's such a brave thing to do what you've done to build a team. It's like going, you know, the easier thing would be to just take care of less clients, and actually it would be more profitable.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 people, well, plus I have a runner and a social media manager. So 6 people that for sure get paid whether I do or not, you know, that's like a big responsibility. In April 2020, all of our deals went away, like that first week or last week of March, all of our deals went away. And then I started working with my coach on like, what can we cut? Like we cut expenses really, really fast, which was a huge gift, huge, because there was a whole bunch of crap being spent that was not important. And then we just looked at like, what's our run rate? Like, how much do we need to sell to get to pay just everybody? And I remember I didn't pay myself that month, but I did barely got by and paid my staff. And I didn't have to lay anyone off. And the bigger teams that were operating on a smaller profit margin or with less efficiencies or less systems, there was teams that cut like half their staff. And I'm so proud. That's why we make profit. I don't make profit to go like take a private jet and sit on a beach. I make profit because I want to create job security for my team.
Right. Absolutely. You want to have money in the bank to protect you against months that are smaller, and to be able to continue to pay people. Yeah. Yep. Ooh, I can go down a rabbit hole there. So 85% of your business comes from repeat business and referrals. So what is the best way, do you think, to keep up these kinds of referrals, to keep them coming? And I mean, you stay connected. You've done over 2,000 transactions in your career. How do you stay connected to all of those people and keep the communication high quality?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it was easier when it was smaller. It is getting harder to make phone calls to that many people. So I've limited my list to MVPs, most valuable people, instead of calling. We have a 5,000 complete, you know, name, address, email, phone number. We have like 5,000. So plus the 2,000 past clients. And so I just can't physically do that myself. So we do 4 client appreciation events a year. One is the home makeover project. And then we do a masquerade ball, a pie giving right before Thanksgiving. And then we do a family barbecue. We mail, email, call, or text 52 times a year. And now Gary is telling us to raise it to 72 because, you know, Jimmy John's and Amazon emails you every day. So it's not too much, especially if there's value. And so we really, our intention with our mail or email or contacts is value first, always leading with value. And then having MOFers, which is make an offer for immediate response. So scan this so you can get an evaluation on your home, or call me about my commission compromise program, or like having some sort of call to action so that people reach out. But mostly just people reach out because we're adding value to them. Like I get most of my business, the 85% referral repeat is like, come list me's or come help me buy a house, like a Facebook Messenger or an email response to our newsletter that says I'm ready. I just had someone go in and get like a market evaluation on my website through Brivity. So we're getting their inbound requests, but we're definitely also doing outbound check-ins. So 4 phone calls a year is my expectation for my team. And with the kids, this has not been perfect. This is just more of an expectation, and I'll be in integrity that I haven't been perfect with these phone calls, but we've done so much business over the years that the 130 sales referral repeat happens every year. And then like maybe 20 strangers. So we do about 150 sales a year, mostly referral repeat. So what we're supposed to do is first call of the year is, what are your real estate plans for 2023? So that's like a great first quarter call. Just best sales tactic is say it and be quiet. And just let them talk, because if they're not talking, they're actually thinking about what their plan is for real estate in 2023. So be quiet. And then second call is spring. What are your spring cleaning plans? Do you need anything? Do you need any contractors or, so can we connect you with anyone? So it's less of a sales call, more super high value. Like, how can we help you? Third call is I want to be like your financial planner. How many houses do you own? Usually I know about one, and then you discover they have a rental property in Tennessee. That's great to know. Like, I can help them with realtors down there if they need it. So I offer a market analysis for their property so they can get an equity, find out how much equity they have in their real estate. And then the fourth call is also non-real estate related. It's completely gratitude, thanking them. And when I thank people, and I learned this with parenting too, I'm very specific about what I'm thanking them about. Or like Spencer did well in soccer. Good job in soccer today. Wow, I really liked how you passed the ball to your friend and then you scored a goal. You made an assist today. That's a big deal. So we're specific with the way we talk to our kids and then also our clients. Like, thank you for introducing me to Susie. Did you know Susie introduced me to like 10 other people? You've totally changed my life. That's how we say thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So do you make all of those calls or does your team make these calls? How do you break this out?
We're all making a lot of follow-up calls because we have so much inbound that it's follow-up. And then the team is responsible for their own list, like their sphere of influence. And then I have my MVPs that I'm responsible to call. And my next hire is an inside-outside salesperson because there's people not being called right now.
Yep. I understand that. So Christina, what does a typical Monday look like for you?
Oh, I love Mondays. Okay. Well, I always get excited to work. I still love going to the office and I'm an in-office old school person. I can't get too distracted at home, but I wake up and Monday mornings or Monday evenings, I've got Pilates booked. And if I don't show up to Pilates, they charge me $30, which I do not want to pay them an extra. I'm already paying them a monthly fee. So I've got usually some exercise, some quiet time. I love doing a project early morning. So I might even get up super early and like bust out a project at the home office. I'll have some time with my kids. And then we do a meeting with the admin team to kick off the morning. So it's a Zoom meeting because Eliza and Clarissa are in the Philippines. And that's 30 minutes for like what our plan is for the day and the week. And then there's all these things that we have to ask each other, cross things. And then I get on Facebook and I do a market update. I've been doing a market update for 3.5 years, live on Facebook. Wow. I am being recognized in my city and my voice is being recognized. My voice was recognized on Halloween with the kids and I was strawberry shortcake and someone came up to me and he heard me talking to the kids and it was dark. So he couldn't even see me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I listened to your he called it a broadcast. I listen to your broadcast every Monday on Facebook. You're like my source of news. So that consistent Facebook Live, I don't love 9:30 a.m. on Monday. I don't think that's really a good day, but that's been what we've been doing for 3.5 years. So I just keep it consistent. And then I go into lead generation. So because of those meetings and that commitment to going live, my lead gen's a little bit shorter. And then also, this is not just Mondays. Mondays, I try not to go on a listing appointment because sometimes there's like offers or stuff from the weekend that we have to deal with. Yeah. But Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I have time blocked listing appointments open. And so I look to fill them. Just like if you had a doctor and you're a new patient, they wouldn't be like, oh, I'll just see you tomorrow.
Yeah, whenever.
Like, what's wrong with this doctor? Why is he available tomorrow? I have a red flag. And if they're like, oh, we're not available for 2 months and we have Tuesday at 3:30. I mean, my clients are not going to wait for 2 months, but I fill them in. I find out their motivation and their timeline. And if their timeline's long enough, I fill them into one of my open listing appointments. And my listing appointments are only on the afternoons and they're not during rush hour traffic. So I go home. If I am going to take an evening appointment, it's at 6:30. I go home, I eat dinner with my family, and then I drive to Meridian or Eagle, which is like, I just want to die because I live in downtown Boise and I want to be in my bubble, but at least I don't have to sit in traffic.
Right. I do the same thing. I do all of my lead gen in the morning from 9 to 11. So meetings at 8 a.m. to 9, lead gen from 9 to 11.
Love it.
There's a lunch appointment available there for a face-to-face with somebody. And then from 1 until 5 is my consultation blocks that I have that too. We plug it into the blocks. So that's, nerding out. Love it. So you're the CEO of your company. You're the lead agent. You're also a wife. You're a mama. What tricks have you discovered to keep yourself focused and productive in your day-to-day busy schedule?
Well, if people say like, you do so much, I'm like, I really don't do that much. I just have a lot of amazing people that help us run the house and run the office. And so we talked about the team and how awesome they are. At my home, my leverage is, I mean, I wouldn't call leverage my husband or my parents, but they are very much a part of our team, my grandparents and my husband, to run our house. And Lane and I did this amazing exercise. We got it from a client. They were like 60 years married. And I asked, what's your secret? And they said, we do strength-based lists. And you actually list out what you want to do to run your house, like what you love. Like somebody loves being in charge of soccer or something, like scheduling soccer and taking them to soccer. Like they're the soccer parent. Or somebody loves doing the dishes. I don't know who loves that, but there's different things that we kind of roles that we have that we love to do. And so each person lists out their roles to run the house. And then you list out the other things that nobody wants to do. And then we decide, well, so my role is I am the income earner of my family. So my list might be shorter. And then Lane takes those extra things, like dishes was one of them, actually. I haven't done a dish in 2 years since he decided I'm in charge of dishes. And it doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. It's just, there's so much rub when you're just constantly communicating with your spouse on who's going to do what. And I have the personality to just boss, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of myself. I don't like who I am. And so when I didn't have to tell him what to do all the time because he's completely in charge of it, it has saved our marriage. It's been incredible. And then we realized that he's just not as good at doing some of those things. So we hired a house manager, and she comes every day and she cleans my house. It's amazing. It's like the best hire I've ever made. Our house is like an Airbnb when I get home from work, and I don't have to think about any responsibilities but to be the mom. And so I can be, even if it's like a shorter, I get home maybe at 6, my goal is 5, but say I get home at 6 and then they go to bed at 8 or 8:30. That's not a lot of time, but then we can like really eat dinner together, be present, play together, read together, versus me kind of having anxiety around all these things that need to get done. So I have a job description for the house manager. If anyone's ready to hire that, we spend about $1,000, or maybe it's $1,200 a month for a couple hours a day for 4 days a week.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's a game changer. I just wanted to comment back on, we are leaders and we're salespeople, and we do have to guide people, or we get to guide people all day long. And you just kind of mentioned that, that's not really what I want to do when I get home. And that really resonates with me. And I've had that conversation with my husband and my family too, to say like, I have to have the answers for everybody all day long, every day. At home, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the answers. I just want to be here and enjoy everybody's company and not have to be yelling and bossing people around and being mad because things aren't getting done. And, I don't want to do that. I'm exhausted from leading everybody to water all the time.
Yeah. And it starts with us, and it starts with letting go. Like we had a water flood in one of our rentals a month ago, and I'm like, whose job is that? Lane's in charge of rentals. He's in charge of money. That's on the list, right? Like strength-based list. And I know how to do a renovation project. I've done a lot of them with my listings when there's water. I'm probably the better person to do that job, but it would have been incredibly distracting and stressful from my business. And so I just went, you got this. I trust you. And if I stay with it a little bit in it, then my power or my like confidence takes over for people with my spouse or my team. And I have to completely let go and say, you got this. Let me know if I can help with anything, but I trust you. And that's been like only in the last couple of years, because my old self would just take over and just do everything. And then I'm like exhausted. It could cause me, I haven't gotten sick, but I've seen people like me get sick before, and it's not good.
I've never heard anybody else say that. Like my husband Zane and I have said that too. And it's like, there's some things that are his department and some things that are my department. And even though we probably could do some of the things that are in their department, maybe even better, just being able to hand that off and letting them do it at 80% of what it is that we can do and not to manage that. I'm just echoing what you're saying, because that's exactly where the strength is of your team at home and in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So Christina, do you think there's a pattern or a formula to becoming a successful realtor?
Oh, I loved that question. I was like, well, I don't know. Let me write this down. Let me think of it. So my pattern is take care of me first, and then lead generate when I get to the office, and time block priorities. So we talked about listing appointments, but I also time block family time.
Yep.
Like family movie night, family game night. I time block dinners, and it seems silly, but otherwise I'll just fill it up with a sales appointments.
Yep.
And then plan time off for recharge. And really, like, my family says I'm different on vacation, and they like me on vacation. So we just
my family doesn't like me on vacation.
Fun mom, like, no worries. It's just so great. So we just go on a lot of vacations. Like, I work really hard, and I'm always thinking about the next trip. And like, we're going next week to the Redfish Lake, one of my favorite places in the world. And there's not even good cell phone reception. So it's like, well, the team will take care of it. And they like it. They're like, go away, go have fun. Cause they like me when I come back too. So that's my formula. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I am kind of the other way on that, in that I like my routine. I like working. I like doing my thing and being in the groove. So vacations for me, I kind of would rather just work.
I like that you know that about yourself.
Yeah.
Even at this Redfish place we go to, there's like all the workaholics go to the library because that's the only place that there's like cell phone and internet. So like, you're always kind of like, I go there every morning just to get a few things done and feel good. I want to feel present when I'm with my family.
Yeah.
So you just kind of look around at all the other workaholics and you see them every morning. We're all camping and then we go to the library together. But that gives me peace too, because I do like working and I like following through. I think that's a really big reason why we get so much referral business is that we have really high level follow through, and that we even tell people things they need, or not tell people, but suggest things that they don't even know they need. Right. Go the extra mile with, I call it an I insist moment. So, we don't need a bid for the roof. Well, I'm just going to get one for you. I insist on that because I don't want the phone call 2 years later that they got a big surprise on their roof. And that little could cause someone to go, maybe I'm not going to call Christina back for the next one. So we constantly are insisting on what we know is we're the leaders. Why would we listen to our clients? I mean, we have to listen to them and do whatever they want, but we can lead them and make suggestions that are really good for them. And then they can decide whatever they want.
Sure. Because that's why they've hired us. I always call it like my mama bear moment, where I know that you're not asking my opinion, but I feel compelled to tell you what it is that I think is the right thing to do here. And I can't get off this call without telling you that I would not do it this way. I would do it this way. If it were me, you can do whatever you want to do. But if I was in your shoes, this is the direction I would go. And then give them an opportunity to tell me it's none of my business and then buzz off, of course. But I can't help myself. And like, that's the stuff that keeps me awake at night is not giving people great advice. And when you commented on, disconnecting, when you're on vacation, I feel like the reason why I get anxiety when I try to completely disconnect is that I'm a person that I think that I'm good at my job because I'm constantly staying on top of it. I'm responding right away. I don't let all those things stack up and then respond. I just respond all the time. And I think that that's what's been helpful. And so when you go on vacation and you try to disconnect entirely, I can just not being able to look at my stuff just makes me anxious. But
it's all about the team, because when they can do it better than you. I mean, and you have an amazing team. And I think there's a balance there. And that's why I go to the library every morning, because otherwise there's no way. Like, I'll just be sitting there feeling that way, like you're saying, like that's just super anxious that people are needing me. But it's good practice. And, if you think about lifting weights, like heavy weights, you can't just lift heavy weights for the whole hour. You have to stop and rest, and maybe even rest longer than the actual weight bearing activity to do the heavy weight again. And if we're not stopping, realtors and mortgage lenders are the worst. And we are not stopping to rest. And then we're not 100% after if we're not resting.
Right. I'm not anxious about my clients. I'm anxious about you guys. And that's,
Oh, the agents. Yeah.
the agents. And I think it's because we're friends,
Yeah.
it's because you count on me. You count on me.
Yeah.
And my agents use me because we're a team and they can count on me that I have a top secret bat phone that only certain people get. And
I do too.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's top secret. And so my voicemail on it is, if you've got this number, it's because I really love you.
I'm going to change mine. I love that. I want to do that.
It's because I really love you, because nobody has this number. Otherwise, your phone would just go off all the time. But most of the time, my phone goes to my team. So
yeah, good.
But except for my love bucket realtors, I call them. So
so special. That's so great. I love that.
Yeah. Well, all my best friends are realtors. Isn't that amazing? It's just it's like, this is what we do. Let's just do it together. So, okay. Last question for you. What is the next achievement that you're pursuing in the next 2 years?
Okay. So I feel like I've mastered sales and definitely haven't mastered team building, but getting better at that. Mm-hmm. And then really moving forward, it's the give back and making an impact on people's lives locally and in the world. And the way that I would like to do that is to continue to add events like the 100th sale giveaway and then the home makeover, teach other people to do those two things. I've copied the 100th home from a team in LA. And then the makeover was my idea, but I'm sure it wasn't really my idea. It existed, but teach others how to do that and make an impact in other communities. And then to decrease sales, possibly by just drawing a map around my home and then only doing luxury sales and then nearby my home, like maybe Boise School District, and train someone fantastic to do listings on the outskirts of town. And so to decrease the sale, I do about 60 listings a year. So maybe going to 30, I'm not sure what that's going to look like, really, so I can spend more time in visionary activities, in problem solving activities, coaching activities to my team, and teaching and coaching across the country. Like I have a few coaching clients right now, and I teach a class 100 homes by referral across the country. And I would love to do more of that and to do that exponential impact through others.
Oh my gosh. You are so inspiring. I cannot wait for this podcast to be released because it's just going to blow up. People are going to be so excited to hear your specialties and your advice on this. You guys, she is amazing, amazing. So Christina, thank you so much for your time. This was amazing.
Oh, I learned so much from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Just as a reminder, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders. What we are known for are 3 things. Number 1, we close on time. Number 2, we keep our realtors in the sales seat at all times by keeping them updated on their current transactions. And number 3, when you entrust us with a lead, we follow up on that lead until they buy, fly, or die. Leads are never lost to our lack of follow-up. Our number 1 priority is for you to earn more money in commissions so that you can improve the lives of your family, community, and in turn, our country. So can I count on you for that next buyer lead? I would love to work with you too. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please just reach out to my office. All right, we'll talk to you when you call in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Bye-bye.